the force of waste finishes the truth and righteousness in the soul. And you see that waste thoughts or waste feelings, they are very powerful. Psychology says that the positive feelings, the positive thoughts are like a breeze, and the negative and waste is like a sledgehammer. So it just comes and strikes. And mostly negative is like a sledgehammer. It comes and just, destroys whatever sweetness, silence, joy you had inside. But it's a very good expression that Baba uses, that waste is like a force. And you see, when there is tremendous force, then it pushes out everything else. And Baba says, when the force of waste comes, then all the truth and righteousness is pushed out. And the truth and righteousness is what gives us sensibility. So then all the sensibility is lost. And then you do something that you repent later. So this is how the force of waste works. But the important question is, how does this force of waste reach that proportion where it is able to push out the truth and righteousness? So, when we engage in wasteful activities, wasting time, wasting thought, wasting breath, wasteful actions, wasteful words, so then this waste creates a weight. It keeps accumulating. And this accumulation leads to what is called the force of waste. So we need to understand very well that waste is not built up in a second. Wasting breath means wasting energy. So when you spend your physical, mental, emotional energy in the expansion of this world, that is wasting energy. So the force of waste is what pushes out all sensibility. And I think, in these days, waste is not just about the time and thought, but very specifically the wasteful seeing, the wasteful hearing. Because you see, in this world, what I am increasingly feeling is that silence is taking a very back seat and noise is increasing. And in this world, everybody has a platform, and with the social media especially, everybody has a platform and everybody is voicing opinions, voicing ideas, and that is creating a lot of noise. And if you don't protect yourself and abstain from that wasteful hearing, wasteful seeing, because all that waste is made very attractive, and all that waste is given in the name of information, in the name of news, in the name of entertainment, and these labels, they confuse us, and you think that they're telling you something that there is to know, and then you start listening to all that waste, whereas it is just ideas and opinions. These days you see, in any aspect, whether it is about health, it's about spirituality, it's about politics, it's about religion, there is no news, there is only views. And we are listening to those views day in and day out. And all that is coming from a mind, from a soul that is riddled with vices and waste. And all of that is increasing the force of waste in our intellect. And when you spend your time, thought, listening to that stuff, seeing those stuff, and then thinking about it, or wasteful actions, and then you see, when you come into interaction with other souls, then also there's a lot of waste that's happening. There is a lot of waste of money also, because your money is all going to things that Baba asks you not to do, not to spend your money on. And most people are hoarding their money. That's also a kind of waste, because it's not wasted today but wasted tomorrow. So all this wastage, of time, thought, energy, just calculate today how much time you waste. At the end of the day, keep a chart of how many thoughts and how much time was productive and spent in remembrance and seva. And whatever is not spent in remembrance and seva is all waste. And in my experience, 24 hours a day, spending it well is an art, it's an effort. If you want to make 24 hours of your day productive and useful in remembrance and seva, it's a big art and big effort, because most of the time is spent in waste and in things that do not add to your spiritual stage. And it is because people have so much free time and their minds are so free. That's why all these voices and these opinions are coming up, and they are consuming our time and our mind space. So we need to understand that whatever we hear, listen and do and speak, and if you are speaking wasteful also, that is also creating a lot of waste burden on in your consciousness. So all the waste that you're carrying, it's becoming a force. And then what happens is, you are listening to the truth and you know what is right and wrong. Does any BK, any Brahmin not know what is right and wrong? Baba is telling us every day, so we definitely know. We know the truth, we know what is right and wrong, but then we end up doing the wrong thing always. And we end up doing, the insensible thing, the not unrighteous thing always. Why? Because all the weight of this waste is pushing out the truth and righteousness from within. So this is why Baba says, if you want to become divine, then it's very important that you put a stop to all this waste. And you see, knowledge and yoga is like the tap that's filling the bucket. So you're filling the bucket, but waste is like the big hole underneath the bucket. And then everything that you're putting in is getting drained out. And I think, the bigger challenge is not to listen to knowledge and do yoga, the bigger challenge is to plug the hole. And if you don't plug the hole, then what's happening is you're doing, it's not that we are not listening to Murli, we are not churning Murli, or we are not meditating. Most Brahmins, they are getting up at 4 a.m. doing Amrit Vela, sitting in Baba's remembrance. But why is that not helping us build the, Baba says that when you have yoga, then you will retain the knowledge and you will act knowledgefully. Or when you have yoga, your sins will get burnt. Or when you have yoga, then you will inculcate divine virtues. Or when you have knowledge in yoga, you will become serviceable. So why is our knowledge and yoga not translating into knowledgeful actions? Why is it not translating into virtuous characters? Why is it not translating into, somebody who is an athak sevadhari? It's not translating into tireless service. Why is that not happening? Because there's a lot of force of waste. And if you look at the day is divided between doing productive and elevated karma according to Baba's Srimad and engaging in waste. So sometimes the division is equal, sometimes the force of waste is even higher. And let me tell you that the night time when we sleep, if it's for 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever, that we have no control over. So leave alone those 6 hours, the 18 hours that we are awake. Just think about how much of those 18 hours every day is spent in actually according to Srimad. So the way Baba says, am I really spending my 18 hours according to Srimad? And if you look at the division, it's 50-50 almost, or it's sometimes more than 50% waste. So just think about the kind of wasteful, momentum that's being built. And then that's why we are listening to the truth, but our intellect is not holding that truth. And all the truth and righteousness is getting washed away, pushed away. So Baba says that you have to stop this wastage. And when I decided in my journey, sometime, when I started understanding that this waste is the main culprit, and I started protecting myself from that waste, I found it very, very difficult. And I'm telling you this from experience that it's not easy. You have to put in a lot of effort because this is a world of wastage. Whatever you are doing, thinking, speaking, interacting, listening, everything is waste. So protecting yourself from it is not a small deal. You have to be in complete remembrance of Baba. You have to be in complete Karam Yoga. I remember I used to sit for 88 hours in the office, and I used to keep my ears plugged in with the earphone, and even though I was not listening to anything, I kept my ears plugged so that other people think that I'm busy. Because you see, there was so much of wastage, and I did not have the strength to protect myself from it. So I had to physically protect myself in the beginning. And then later I learned very gradually, when I built that strength, I learned how to not plug in the ears and still not listen to what's happening around. Because you see, it's all wastage. And just think about how much of effect a 40-minute Murli has on you. Yes, what are you doing to the Murli? You're just listening to the Murli. Even if you're not churning on the Murli, if you're just listening to the Murli, 40 minutes a day, then it has so much effect on you. Then just think about how much effect the other stuff has on you, which you are listening to much more than 40 minutes. And if Murli has an impact on you, then whatever you listen has an impact on you. So we cannot deny the impact of, the vibrations, the sounds, the sights, and we have to protect ourselves by keeping our man and buddhi engaged in churning knowledge and remembering Baba all the time. And that's not a small feat. Initially you have to physically also protect yourself, and then slowly, gradually, you have to build the strength to be in the mud and not get affected. But that strength you will not have in the beginning. So in the beginning, the best method is to physically protect yourself and not engage, not just shut down, not engage your eyes and ears in anything wasteful. Just keep the phone on the side. Just check your messages once a day. So that's how you have to train yourself. And in the Murli, Baba is always giving us methods and yuktis. For what? For changing into a deity. And it's not a small deal, Baba says, you want to be number one, do this. You want to come in the mala, you want to come in the garland, you do this. You want to become the best deity, you do this. And we think, okay, Baba is giving this Srimad, but do you understand that Baba is looking at us with very great vision. Baba is, and we must have that Swaman, that Baba is teaching me to become a deity. And becoming a deity from a human is never a small deal. So I have to pay so much attention and protect myself so well that I'm able to, claim that stage by following Srimad. And, because just following Srimad is not enough, you have to also safeguard yourself from Maya that comes from the door of waste. So Baba says this. And then Baba says that when you share knowledge with somebody, you have to be very soul conscious. You have to be fearless. You have to pull up your courage. Yes, so do you understand that Baba is the truth? And what Baba has told us is the only truth. There is no other truth in this world. And nobody knows the truth except you. Nobody knows the truth except you. And you are the one who Baba has entrusted with the task of speaking the truth. And when truth is such a pure energy that if truth is spoken with any vibration of body consciousness, then the truth loses its power. So there's a saying, ring of truth. And you see, the truth has the ability to pierce somebody's heart and make them feel that, yes, this is true. But how does that truth not have an impact on somebody? Because when we are body conscious and our vibration is that of being influenced, that of being afraid, that of being attached, that of being in anger, then that truth loses its purity. I remember there was this one Mata, and she used to tell me, Didi, I have conducted so many courses, and when I conduct a course, most souls, they have understood Baba's Gyan. And she said, I am a good instrument of Baba. And I'm saying this myself, so it might be sounding egoistic, but I'm just saying this as a background to the problem I want you to understand. So I said, okay, tell me. So she said, you see, Didi, I must have given an introduction to maybe X amount of souls, and then mostly 70% of them understood Gyan. But none of my family members ever understand Gyan from me. And whenever I speak knowledge to them, I feel like it created no impact on them. And they never understand it, and it feels like I also failed. It's not just that they don't understand, but I also feel like I'm not able to do a good job when it comes to my own family members. So I told her that, you see, you are speaking the truth, but when you're body conscious, then your attachment, because you see, even when you are sharing this with me, the term you are using is my family members. You're not using the term this soul, that soul, because you're not able to see them as souls. And maybe intellectually, sometimes you just try to play with your intellect and say this is a soul, that is a soul. But deep down, you're very body conscious and you think of them as family members. And when you're thinking about someone as a family member, that means your attachment is, invoked. And in that state, when you speak the knowledge, then the knowledge doesn't have power because your attachment is invoked. And then you see, the same goes with fear. So if you are in the fear of somebody's authority, so I remember there was this one minister, and I had gone to give the message to that minister, and there was another sister with me, and that minister, she was very, her face didn't have a smile, and she was very, it appeared like we are disturbing her, and it was an environment where she was also, with her eyes telling us to hurry, and it was this kind of an atmosphere, and there was this vibration also that her time is getting wasted. So then this other sister with me, she got very intimidated because it was that kind of an authoritative environment. And then when she was giving her the sandesh, she was telling her that God has come and we are organizing a program to share what God shares with us. So when she was giving this message, she couldn't do it very well. And then in the meantime, I just thought about it that, okay, this is a soul. That soul doesn't know Baba, so it's okay the way they are. It's okay, it's completely fine. And I'm here to tell her about her father. So let me just tell it with the love with which Baba says it. And when I spoke with that, calmness and love, then what she did was she listened patiently, and then she said, do you have some booklet or something and I can go through it? Or do you have some material with you? And she even took interest in that, and she took that stuff. So later on, when I was coming out of the cabin, I thought that, sometimes you feel that somebody's vibration or somebody's behavior is because of you. But you see, somebody is sitting on such a big seat. So obviously they have other stuff going around. And then they must have come from that situation. So she was behaving like that. But she is a soul who took interest, and later she attended the program also. So you see that this is why you shouldn't be intimidated by anybody's personality. And being intimidated is not about their behavior. it's about your sanskar of fear. So people have different fears. Some people fear loneliness, some people fear death, some people fear old age, some people fear authority. So there are various kinds of fears that we have, and these are all aspects of body consciousness. So anybody who is in front of you, who are they? They are not elder, wiser, more authoritative. They are just a soul, and you are not trying to tell them something or give them something. You're just doing what Baba has asked you to do. So keep that instrument consciousness in you, that I'm just playing the role that Baba has given me, and be very soul conscious, remember Baba, and give the knowledge. Then it will have an impact. Then you see, many a times there is this quality, this body consciousness of being influenced. So let's say I ask you to, these days when people meet somebody who is rich and famous, or somebody who has name, fame, then the first thing they say is, I'm a fan. And you see, when you say I'm a fan, that means that you're very influenced. And if you have this sanskar of being influenced by somebody, can you be the messenger of God for them? You can never be. So you must understand that whether it's a film actor, or it's a social media influencer, or it's some big dharam guru which you used to listen to before Gyan. So all of them are just souls, and you are here, the messenger of God, giving them the message of God with the love and respect that God gives you the message. So first thing you have to understand is, who are you? You are the instrument of God, and nobody else is in that position right now. So you are the highest authority, you are the biggest, you are the one who is the biggest, the one who will be influencing everybody. So Baba says, when you hold this in your awareness, who is with me and who am I, then you can do the good job of giving the message of Baba to everybody. So Baba says, don't be in fear, don't be in influence, don't be. And then Baba always says, when the truth is spoken with anger, then also it's not the truth. So sometimes somebody has spoken very rudely, and somebody has spoken, somebody has just dismissed the knowledge that you're giving, or spoken rude words to you. Then what happens? There's a streak of anger rising, and in that anger you are trying to prove to them that what you are saying is the truth, but it never gets proven like that. So at that time, what you have to do is, first calm down your anger, first invoke Baba into your heart, the ocean of peace into your heart, and speak with the peace and love, because you see, the only water can extinguish fire. Fire cannot extinguish fire. So if the truth is spoken with anger, then it will have no impact on the other soul, and it might also give the vibration that you're very desperate, and they might never give you their ears for listening again. So this is what Baba says about not being body conscious when you're speaking to somebody. And then Baba says that when the intellect is full of vices, then that intellect cannot recognize Baba, cannot experience Baba, cannot hold Baba's knowledge. And you see that Baba always says there is calm chitta, and you see that the whole world is burning in calm chitta. So the fire of vices, just like the fire of yoga purifies the intellect, the fire of vices burns all the purity in the intellect. It impurifies the intellect. So Baba says those who are burning in the fire of vices, they can never listen to Gyan or understand it or recognize Baba or recognize that ring of truth. So Baba says this is why most souls in the world, they don't recognize Baba. And you see, I have seen Baba's children also. Many times somebody is coming to the class, they are listening to Gyan, but then after a point of time they are able to speak ill about Baba and Baba's yajna. Yes, and how does that happen? And I sometimes feel, did they forget all the murlis? Did they forget all the love Baba gave them? Did they forget all the peace and happiness they experienced? But the thing is, if your intellect is full of vices and it's burning, then you see when when a tawa, when a, that which you make rotis on, that is burning, then you sprinkle water on it and the water just evaporates. So similarly, this Gyan Jal, the water of knowledge, just evaporates in such a buddhi. And this is why, even though you see somebody sitting in class and listening to knowledge, if they are not working on their vices, then what happens is those vices are finishing all the knowledge, all the, all the love and the peace and the happiness that Baba is sending your way. You're not able to feel it because it just evaporates. And this is why when we come to Gyan, it's very important to experiment with knowledge by first, practicing purity. So earlier days, you see, sometimes Baba mentions in the Murli that people used to come and take the course in a bhatti. Now, what is a bhatti? So they used to live in Madhuban and then take the course. And when they lived in Madhuban, then they were eating pure food, not engaging in vices, and it was a pure environment. And then that Gyan made sense. And these days also we have Raj Yoga Shivers, in which we take newcomers, and in that shiver they listen to knowledge, and they are in that environment, that charged environment, where they are eating pure food and abstaining from vices. So Baba says, in that environment you must take the course. And when somebody comes, you can also say that for some time abstain from vices and just experiment with this knowledge, and then you can decide later on. Because with a buddhi that's burning with vices, it's very difficult to hold the knowledge or feel Baba's presence. And most souls, they don't feel Baba's presence because that buddhi, and mostly when Kumars and Kumaris come who are practicing, because these days it's not necessary that Kumars and Kumaris are also practicing purity. So if those who are practicing purity and are Kumars and Kumaris, they come, they get Gyan, they understand Gyan very easily, because when the buddhi is not burning with vices, then the Gyan sits in that buddhi. Okay, Om Shanti.